Gamers, how's it going? We finally have White Forest added to the game, and as a matter of fact, we also finally have Dragoon. After years of begging Konami for this, we actually got Dragoon in Master Duel, and you best believe that we have a Nib-Safe line in this deck to summon Dragoon and then go full combo after. It is really, really cool. So there's a lot of builds for White Forest, or White Woods as a lot of people call it. There's a ton of builds for this deck. There's 3 that I plan on covering on this channel. We're starting with the most pure one because I really want to introduce you to the archetype since it's brand new to the game, and also it's an opportunity to, you know, play Dragoon, play Silhouette, all this stuff. Like, it's a good opportunity to show off some of these new cards in the game. I am going to cover the Centurion variant of this as well, because that also is really insane, really, really crazy, and potentially even better. Hard to say. I haven't tested it enough in Master Duel to really know yet. And eventually I'll also intend on covering the Runic variant. Runic is very, very gimped in Master Duel, but Runic with this deck is really solid. So all that to say, this is not going to be the only White Woods or White Forest content you're going to get on my channel. I'm really enjoying this deck, and until we get Fiendsmith, this is probably going to be like my favorite new deck to play. So I'm definitely going to be trying to, you know, cover all different variants and stuff. So that's the first thing I'm going to show in this video. But before we get into that, I do want to talk about the cards just a little bit, since, you know, they're brand new to the game. And, you know, my channel is more so targeted to people like me that don't really play TCG. More so play Master Duel and might be just seeing these cards for the first time ever, just like me. This deck generally relies on sending cards from the hand or back row to the grave, spells and traps. And you have a card like Tales of the White Forest. This is one of your main searchers in the deck. It's very easy to access, but it is conditional, which is why you don't run 3. This card needs you to control either an illusion or spellcaster on the field. So you only run 1, which you can search off of your Sylvie. And this card, as well as your main trap card, Woes, both set themselves from the grave when you send them to the graveyard with a monster effect. So that's really, really good, because, for example, if you go like a Stellar and you send Tails for cost, this is going to set itself, and then you can activate it, search a card from your deck, for example. So these are really, really good. But even better than that is the advantage you generate when you go for the Toy Box engine. If you get Toy Box plus like a Stellar, that's basically your best hand. It's like your best combo, and that is what we're going to start with in this video. I'm going to show you like what you can do with Toy Box plus a Stellar, which is the cool Dragoon line that we're doing. And yeah, dude, it's just really, really awesome. It's really strong. You generate a bunch of advantage just from sending these toy cards to the grave, and they get to like do some searching, you know, summon Ryo from the hand late into your combo. You get basically a Colossus from your combo with this deck. So definitely going first, if you go full combo, you're doing great. Unfortunately, just because it's not 1-card combos, the consistency is not exactly there to call it like a tier 1 deck, and maybe not even to call it a tier 2, unfortunately, because you will have to get used to playing some awkward hands, where this deck feels more so kind of like a build a board type of deck. It's not really one of those super linear combo decks, you know, something like Yugioh, where like, you know, all paths lead to Rome. You really have to get used to the playstyle of this deck and get used to freestyling with it, and making, you know, you have some decision making to do during your combos. Even when you're doing your most linear combo, you might have some decision making to do even there. So I personally really like that playstyle for combo decks. I find it a lot more interesting to play, and it gets a lot less grating when you're doing like a bunch of duels, when every duel feels a little different based on the hand you're getting. So I personally really like the playstyle of this deck. It can be a bit mid-rangey. It can set up pretty insane boards. And going second, I would say it has a good amount of gas where it can play through a good chunk of interruption. But, you know, right now in Master Duel, going second, if you're not Tenpai, is really difficult. And going first can be very scary, because Tenpai sometimes will draw like straight up 4 board breakers and a normal summon that gives them OTK. So am I saying you're going to win every single game with this deck? No, but I honestly think there's not a single deck in the game that's like super easy to consistently win with right now. Tenpai is probably the easiest, but even that deck, you'll take a lot of losses where like your hand looks crazy, but your opponent just I don't know, FTKs you with Gimmick Puppet, or, you know, just like does a crazy combo and you just don't have the outs. So I don't think there's a single deck that makes the game easy right now. I think this deck is competent, definitely not top tier, but it's solid. And, you know, I'm just having a great time with it. So yeah, enough yapping. I probably yapped a bit too much. We're going to go do a duel in a duel room. Normally, I would just go to solo mode, but for some reason, Albion just doesn't work in solo mode. And the combo to summon Dragoon well, requires Albion, because you make a Muddy Mud Dragon, and then you use Muddy to go into Albion, and then Albion will banish the Muddy and itself to summon Dragoon. But for some reason, this is not working in solo mode, so we have to do it in a duel room to show it to you. And after that, we're probably going to check out a couple of replays, and after all that, we'll do the card by card. All right, so the main combo I want to show you, just to introduce you to the archetype, since it's a brand new archetype, right, is your bread and butter, your best 2-card combo, basically, which is Astellar plus Toy Box. Now, there's no real, like, good 1-card combo in this deck. Pretty much everything is a 2-card combo, so, you know, just bear with me here. We're going to be starting off with the Toy Box, and the whole idea with this archetype really is to send spells and traps to the grave, and some of them get effects in the grave that help you out and help you generate advantage, and Toy Box is especially good at this. So you activate Toy Box, use its effect, you can put the Toy Soldier in the back row as well as the Toy Tank. So here's a Toy Tank. Now, the thing that's really cool about this line is we're going to be summoning a Dragoon, and the entire line is going to be Nib-Safe. So we start off by normal summoning the Astellar, and we're going to ignore every other card in our hand. So just pretend these don't exist, okay? So normal summon the Astellar here, activate Astellar, and we can send to the grave our Toy Soldier. At this point, we get to special summon from the deck a Sylvie. So special the Sylvie here. Sylvie can search a spell, so you want to go Sylvie as a Chainlink 1, and then Chainlink 2, you're going to chain block with the Toy Soldier, special summoning itself from the graveyard. So, yeah, the amount of advantage you actually generate with Toy Box is crazy in this deck. It's really, really insane. So, Sylvie, you want to search your Tales of the White Forest, like so. And then you get the effect of Toy Soldier, and you can search any level 4 light from your deck or a Toy Box since you control the Toy Box. So we're actually going to search a Thunder King Ryo here. And Tales of the White Forest, you need to control an illusion or spellcaster monster. Now, Dragoon is a spellcaster, so you actually can just hold on to your Tales of the White Forest. You're still going to be Nibiru-safe. Next up, you want to go for a Muddy Mud Dragon using your Sylvie as well as your Astellar. And with these two, you summon the Muddy Mud Dragon. This is your 4th summon. Then you go Muddy Mud Dragon, make Albion, and Albion is your 5th summon. So this line is Nibiru-safe, because if they chose to Nibiru on the summon of Albion, Albion will still work. Like, Albion will still be able to summon Dragoon because it'll just banish itself from the grave instead of from the field. And if they wait until Dragoon hits the field, then Dragoon can just negate Nibiru, right? So you go for Albion here. Albion special the Dragoon using the Muddy Mud Dragon in the grave as well as itself. Banish both of those. Here we go. Summon the Dragoon to the field, just like so. Now, I said to ignore the other cards we had in hand, so we're going to pretend we don't have LZ. Here, you would search LZ with your Tales of the White Forest. Very, very important. So we search for LZ here, and then you would go LZ effect, send the Toy Tank to the graveyard. So LZ, send the Toy Tank, special LZ. And then LZ can add a card from deck to hand. You want to add the Rusia because it can special summon itself from the hand as an extender. You also get the Toy Tank effect in the grave to special summon itself. And Toy Tank later in their combo will be able to summon Thunder King Ryo from your hand. So here you go for Rusia effect. Special summon the Rusia, just like so. Now, if you go for your draw, you won't be able to proc the effect of your level 6 Synchro. So I would actually not do that. I would just go straight for the level 6 Synchro here, since we don't have any other spells that we can send that would generate us any value. So I go straight for the Ruselia here, using the Rusia as well as the LZ. Go for this, because you really want to get your trap card. So we go for Ruselia here, and we can send the Toy Box to the grave. We're going to get to... We don't want to do any of this stuff here. We're going to get to add our Woes to the hand. If you already had Woes, you can also search Effect Veiler with this card, so that's pretty cool. But here we're going to search Woes for sure. And then in grave, we get the effect of Astellar, since a spell was sent to the grave by a monster effect. So we get Astellar here to special summon from the graveyard. Very, very good. Very good. At this point, you could go for your level 8 and get Toy Box back if you want to. There's a couple of things you can do, honestly, here. We're going to do that, though. We're going to go for the Ruselia here and this one and go into... what's her name? The Diabelle, my bad. The Diabelle here. By the way, the animation looks really, really good on this card. I really like the animation. So Diabel here, you can get back your toy box or you could get back your tails. I'm going to get back toy box because toy box is not a hard once per turn. You can actually do it again. And it gets you more cards in the back row that you can then like dispose of. So it's actually pretty damn good. So we're going to go toy box here. Yeah, we can go toy box effect. You know, just put cards in the back row again, basically. It's just to put like the last toy soldier you have in deck. You can put it in the back row. You can fill up more, you know, and put the other toy soldier, but I don't really see the point of doing that from the grave. So I'm just going to leave it in there. And then at this point, you could special summon one of these guys by bouncing, well, shuffling back into the extra deck, the Reselia. And that way you're going to have access to Baron using the Diabel. And you're going to be able to also make a level 6 synchro that flips all your opponent's monsters face down on the opponent's turn. So that's pretty damn good. So we're going to go for this effect here. Sylvie. Shuffling back the Reselia. And we can go for... honestly, I kind of want to go... We will get to make Baron with the Diabel if we just leave it there. But... Okay, here's what we're going to do. This is pretty good. We're going to go into a Silhouette Rabbit using these two. Yeah. Get a Summon Negate off of Silhouette Rabbit, basically. There's like, again, this is kind of a build-a-board deck. You can kind of do what you want from that point on because you have a lot of gas to work with, like a lot of different pieces. So a lot of this stuff is like optional at this point. The more important part really is that you get into your engine after the Red Eyes Dragoon like combo and you're safe with that Omni Negate on the field, basically. So anyway, we shuffle back that. We can get the Rusia on the field. Rusia is just going to be useful because we can use it and like a level 2 from our deck because Woz is going to summon a level 2 from our deck and synchro an opponent's turn. And what you're going to want to make with it is usually this level 6 over here. This level 6 is going to flip all your opponent's monsters face down. So that's a really, really strong effect to have. So I would usually just like leave Rusia on the field, you know, set the Woz. And we can go for Toy Tank, summon the Ryo. And you know what Ryo does, right? So Ryo is a summon negate on top of being basically a Colossus. So your opponent now can't add cards to hand on their own turn. You have a summon negate with the Azurune if you decide to go for the Silhouette Rabbit. And you're going to get to book all of your opponent's monsters. So like this might seem a little, like it might not seem that crazy intimidating, but it actually is like a really, really strong board. Anyway, so shout out to Jadistic, by the way, for helping me out because for some reason, Albion doesn't work in solo mode. Like you can't summon Dragoon with Albion in solo mode. I tried it twice in a row and it wasn't working. So we had to go and do like a dual room and just start over until I had the hand to show the combo. But I am going to pass here just to show you some interactions, especially for cards that like you might not be familiar with, like the Woz, which is like a really important part of the deck. So yeah, we're just going to pass turn here. And, you know, if we get bodied by heroes, I'm just not going to put this part in the video. I'm going to be real with you. If we get bodied, I'm not putting the part in the video. That's all there is to it. But yeah, you can pretty much just shotgun the angel statue, or you could hold on to it, you know, to pop a back row, depending. Because when you summon the Azurune, Silhouette Rabbit will trigger to pop a back row. So you can either do that or, you know, you can just shotgun it to just have that summon negate. Now, right now, we do have a summon negate with Ryo, so I think we're pretty safe for now. And we can wait a little bit to find out what our opponent is playing. If they're playing like a trap deck or something, you really want to get that back row pop. So anyway, let's see. Okay, so starting off with Hero Lives here. That's pretty good. Yeah, I think we negate that. I think that's a negate. Like, it's the thing is, it's not once per turn, so we might get bodied. We'll see. But I'm pretty sure heroes lose to just Ryo. Like, I'm pretty sure heroes can't beat Ryo, so we'll see. Also, I could probably shotgun this. I don't think they have, like, a suit. Well, we could keep the Azurune to potentially pop one of those Vision heroes, actually. Ooh. 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 Interesting. All right, we'll let that happen for now. Like a Neos. All right, pretty good. Just going straight for Poly here. Yeah, that's pretty good. Our deck, like, we don't stop inherent summons like this. All right. I mean, at this point, I'm going to go for the Azurune just to get it on the field, even though it's not going to really do anything. I really want to show this trap just for the Book of Moon effect, but Book of Moon against a fusion deck is not that crazy. Against a fusion deck, a Book of Moon effect is really not that great. So we got to wait a little bit here. Got to be patient. To be fair, heroes, not really the deck that summons a bunch of negates usually, so maybe we'll do okay. Oh my god, it's Aqua Dolphin. What are we summoning? Absolute zero. Okay. I'm actually just going to go woes right now. I know like it doesn't stop them from using it as a fusion material, but I'm worried that they might have other cards that interact with it face up, and I really don't want that to happen. So I'm just going to see what happens if I shotgun flip it down. So we're going to go for woes. It allows us to special summon a white forest monster from our deck. So we get like Asteller, for example, and then we can choose to synchro summon. So we're choosing to synchro summon. We use these two here, and we can summon out the Silvera. Silvera is a very good card. Flips all your opponent's monsters face down, which is insane. So we get this effect here, flip everything face down. We can chain block it by adding back our LZ from the grave to the hand. And we're looking pretty safe here. You know, we're looking pretty good. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm tripping. Cosmic Cyclone, not really doing much of anything. That's kind of telling me we did it. You know, we made it through the barrage. Worst case, I don't even think we would lose here just because the Ryo is really checking heroes hard. I think that Ryo makes it really, really hard for heroes to play. So I think we should be good here, honestly. I think we probably win it at this point. There we go. There we go. All right. All right. Just making sure. Shout out Jadistic. Thank you, by the way. I really appreciate it. And thanks for picking a deck that, you know, isn't like nothing, but also like I can show off what I'm doing with my deck without like, you know, having to deal with basically Tenpai or something. But yeah, you know, that was just meant to be like a showcase of so many of the tools that you have with this deck. Now, we are going to do some replays as well, and then we'll do a card by card towards the end of the video, as we usually do. All right, so obviously that was completely uninterrupted. I was just trying to show you what you can do with the cards, but you know, you can play through Interruption with this deck. This deck can definitely play through some Interruption. So here we're going first against Tenpai, and we're going to start off with the toy box here. And they go for Ghost Ogre. Of course, we have the Called By. So actually, we have like the perfect combo, right? We have a Stellar and we have Toy Box. Now, I don't do the Dragoon line because I had not figured it out yet at this point that you could like do a Nib-Safe Dragoon. It's not that big a deal because honestly, nobody plays Nibiru right now, but I still figured it would be worth it to showcase the Nibiru safe line for when people start playing it. So we go for a Stellar, you know, send the Toy Soldier to the grave. We get to summon Sylvie, which is our searcher. We get to trigger the Toy Soldier chain link 2 to chain block our Sylvie. Sylvie is going to add the Tails of the White Forest here. So we're going to go for Toy Soldier. We can search our Thunder King Ryo. We go for Tails of the White Forest, and we can add ourselves an LZ. Then we use these two to go into a Ursiella. This is how I did the combo at first before I learned the Dragoon line, so it is what it is. Ursiella adds the woes. We're going to summon out the Stellar, use these two to go into the 8. Also, I do want to mention, this is a more standard way of playing the deck, you know, so this is still useful because not everyone's going to want to play that Dragoon line that I have. You know, it has its downsides. So a lot of people are going to be playing this deck this way, where like your standard line is to start with Ursiella, going into Diabel and all that stuff. So it's definitely not like a bad way to play the deck or anything like that. So we're going to go for Diabel, add the toy box here, go for Sylvie in the grave, shuffling back our Ursiella so we can summon it from the grave and go into Visas Amritara. I only summoned Visas Amritara here to like show the combo because obviously I already had reframing in hand. I literally just summoned this because like I was pretending, what if I didn't have it? I would summon Amritara here to search it. So anyway, we can summon out the LZ here by sending us our toy tank from the back row to the grave, which allows us to summon the toy tank. We search the Rusia with LZ, and we can special Rusia from the hand, if we control a White Forest card. So basically we special summon the Rusia, discard the woes of the White Forest in order to draw, and then that triggers the woes in the grave to set itself back in the back row. With these two, we can go into a Muddy Mud Dragon. Then I go for Muddy Mud Dragon effect using the Diabel, and we can go into a Albion. Albion is going to then make a Dragoon. So we have, you know, the Omni Negate in the back row. We have the Omni Negate from Dark Dragoon. We get Rusia effect, shuffling back the Diabel to put it, you know, in the extra deck and summon Rusia just so we can use it with our woes on opponent's turn to, again, get that effect of flipping down all their cards. And then we use the effect of Toy Tank to summon out the Thunder King Ryo. Go for Toy Box just, you know, to empty out the deck of our last Toy Soldier so we don't draw it, and set an Imperm. So basically we have Imperm, we have woes, we have, you know, an Omni Negate. We have Ash, but we'll probably discard the Ash for Red Eyes Dark Dragoon if they like activate a board breaker or something, which is very likely. We don't know yet, but we're playing against Tenpai. Now I'm realizing I didn't play through that much Interruption. This is really more so playing through board breakers. So they go for Raigeki. We go for our reframing here. I'm holding on to my Ash if I can, just in case that I really need to use the Ash Blossom. They're going to go for Raigeki again. At this point, I'm like, okay, bye-bye, Ash. It is what it is. I'm not trying to get Raigeki here. And then they're going to go for a Magnamut. Obviously, I let this go through. Like, who cares? I mean, I don't even have an interruption for it, but I also just don't care. But, you know, I do want to show you how good the woes can be against Tenpai here. So they go for Magnamut effect. They summon Fadra, then they special Chundra. As soon as Chundra hits the field, I'm like, we're so safe right now. So we just go for woes, summon LZ from the deck. We have a 2 and a 4 tuner. Go straight into our Silvera. Silvera hits the field, flips everything face down. Yeah, they could search again Roku in end phase, but we even have Imperm. So, like, we just cleaned it up that easy. Destroyed Tenpai. I was kind of wrong when I said playing through interruption. This was more so playing through board breakers / Tenpai, but still, I do think it's important to show this. Ryo is really, really good against Tenpai just by stopping them searching. Like, they can't search with their field spell, for example. They can't search with their Kaimen, and it's 1900 attack, which is pretty hard to beat over, especially when it's backed up by a trap card that will flip all their monsters face down. And I didn't get to show it in this replay, and I probably should have waited just to show it, but I wanted to be safe in case they made a Baron with their level 6 and their Chundra. But actually, in the battle phase, you can activate the trap. So you can use the trap in the battle phase to flip everything face down if their monsters are protected by their field spell. So it's a really, really, really good play into Tenpai. It's really, really strong. I love it, man. I just love it. I think it's really solid. Okay, now this one here is a big deal. This is Gimmick Puppet going second against FTK Gimmick Puppet. This is a big one. Just, like, bear with me here, pay attention, because this is not a simple replay at all. So they go for the Gimmick Puppet little guy. I negate it with Imperm so that it stays level 4. Then they go for the Puppet Rouge in the grave. They activate Puppet Rouge. I Ash, but they actually had the called by, which really sucks. So they called by my Ash. They get to summon their 2 level 8s. It's like, damn, I'm screwed. I'm screwed. They summon Machinix, detach a material, get their rank up. They go rank up, you know, go into CXCs, Fanatics, Machinix, like, they grab their trap. They go for the effect, summon a monster to my field, and then they scoop. So, yeah, that's how you beat Gimmick Puppet FTK. We're going to move on. All right, I'll get serious here. That first replay wasn't really playing through interruption, and that second replay wasn't really playing against Gimmick Puppet. So here's a replay where we're playing through interruption against Gimmick Puppet, okay? Actually, a real replay. So here we go. We're going to start off with Toy Box. The hand looks immaculate, but it doesn't turn out as good as I wanted it to. I normal summon the Esteller here, sending the Toy Soldier, and they Veiler my Esteller, and that's actually really strong. Like, Veiler here is kind of strong. I don't have an out to Veiler, and I kind of needed this Esteller to go through to really pop off here. It's not the end of the world. We can still go for Toy Soldier. And the thing is, we have to grab Rusia so that we get something to summon, so that we can get, like, a tuner. But then we get Drolled, which makes it even worse. If it was just Veiler, it'd be okay, but Veiler plus Droll, at this point, we kind of just have to go into our Dragoon pass play. So, yes, we are Dragoon passing at the very end on the last leg of 2024. We are simply Red Eyes Dark Dragoon passing here, and we have our Azurune in hand, which is a pretty good thing. That's going to be a special summon negate similar to, well, the same effect basically as Cerevis, and we have a Droplet, which can actually send the Toy Tank to summon the Toy Tank, which could come up and be nice. And we have Ash Blossom in hand, which most likely gets discarded for Red Eyes Dark Dragoon because we don't have a way to get another card in hand with our current setup here. So on opponent's turn, as soon as their turn starts, I'm going to summon Azurune just to get its effect. They're going to go for a Scissor Arms, and I'm going to go for Droplet on Scissor Arms because I know very well how good sending a card to the grave is in this deck, and I'm really trying to stop them as soon as possible. I really don't want them to play. So, you know, we send the Toy Tank to the grave. Toy Tank summons itself. Unfortunately, they had Talents, which does force out my Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. I was really hoping that they would not have something to force it out and that I could just negate Engine, but they did. So then they're going to go for, you know, the Gimmick Puppet Rouge Doll. Summon 2 from the deck. Now, when they go for their XCs, we do get to negate the summon here with the Azurune. And keep in mind, Gimmick Puppet, while it does have gas, it doesn't have, like, the most gas ever, at least not to be able to, like, FTK really early, especially because our Red Eyes Dark Dragoon can't be destroyed by card effects, which is actually a really big deal. It can be pretty hard to out for Gimmick Puppet, and it can't be targeted either. So we have, we're really playing Dark Dragoon control for this turn here. I do summon from the grave my Esteller here, and honestly, it's kind of pointless because they can obviously just beat over it, but whatever, I summoned it, you know, I can, so I did it. I just pressed the button, you know what I mean? But in either way, they do get to extend here with Gimmick Puppet Dreary Doll, go into their Link Monster, Gimmick Puppet Chimera Doll, and I'm surprised by how much advantage they can generate here. So they grab the Puppet Fiend Knight, they can special from hand the Rouge Doll with Chimera, and then they can do this. They can special from grave and special the Fiendish Knight from the hand to go straight into a Gigantess Doll, and this is where I'm so happy. This card can target 2 monsters your opponent controls and gain control of them until the end phase. I think my opponent thought they could take control of my Dark Dragoon, and I was so happy that they did this because I was like, I don't think you're outing this Dragoon. I was like super reassured. I was like, I think you're actually not outing my Dragoon. Like, I know that the extra deck for Gimmick Puppet doesn't have that many tools. It's a lot of samey effects in there. They go for a, they're kind of pressing buttons at this point. They go for a Fantastics, grabbing their rank up. They're kind of trying to see, like, is there something I can do to out this Dragoon? They go for a CXC's Gimmick Puppet Fanatics. Fanatics searches the Trap card, which also, like, that's another Snatch Steal, but that also targets, so that's still not going to work against Dark Dragoon. They summon out their Machinix to my field and pop it just to burn for 750, which is whatever. And then they pass turn back to us because they can't deal with our guy. Now we're going to go for Toy Box effect here since they were not able to out it. They do still have my Toy Tank as material, so we don't get to put Toy Tank in the back row, but we send our Toy Soldier to the grave with our LZ that we top decked. Crazy top deck, by the way. Trigger Toy Soldier, and they just scoop it up because they know we're about to go super full combo with our deck here, and they didn't have anything to negate or whatever, so it wasn't looking too hot for them. So I think that's a solid replay, right? Like, even though it was just Dark Dragoon control, I mean, the card just came out. I think I'm allowed to put a Dark Dragoon pass replay, right? All right. Anyway, we're gonna go do the card by card. All right, and here we are. Hopefully this video is not too long, and we're gonna do the card by card and talk about a couple of the cards after. So overall, closing thoughts on the deck is that I really like it. I really like it, and I think it's solid enough that you will get to Master 1 with it, but it's gonna be a bit of an uphill battle. But like I said earlier, I think every deck is, to an extent, an uphill battle right now because the format is extremely sacky. It's extremely diverse. Like, there's so many good decks in Master Duel that it's really, really hard to counter pick anything. So you don't get to play a lot of, like, anti-certain deck cards. You kind of have to just fill your deck with cards that can deal with a bunch of different strategies. But anyway, we have 1 copy of Veiler. This Veiler is searchable with our Diabel, so in certain scenarios, not with Diabel, my bad, with our Ciela, you can search the Veiler. So in some scenarios where you already have the woes, you might search a Veiler, or if you already had the spell in hand and you search the woes in your combo, then you can search a Veiler. So it's kind of nice, it's a searchable Veiler, why not? 3 copies of Maxi, obviously. Triple as Stellar, this is like your main starter, especially with Toy Box. It's really, really broken. LZ is like your best extender. This card is crazy. Special summons itself from hand by sending a spell or trap from hand or field to the grave, and it also then searches a White Forest monster from deck to hand. So for example, you can go LZ and search Rusia, which is like your special summons itself from hand if you control a White Forest type of card, and this is just a really strong extender to go with LZ to get into a level 6 synchro. And this little combo here is basically the reason that you can start off with a Stellar and Sylvie, go into that Mud Dragon line, and then later in your combo, you can go LZ with this to get into your Arciela and, just feel protected by that Dragoon. We have 3 copies of Ash to negate Maxi. Maxi kills this deck really hard. 2 copies of Toy Soldier, 1 copy of Ryo, 1 copy of Toy Tank. So obviously the Ryo is kind of part of the toy engine for this deck because the Toy Soldier, while you control Toy Box, searches the Ryo. The reason I'm running 2 Toy Soldier is because it's not a terrible draw. Like, if you don't have Toy Box, but you have Toy Soldier and like a Stellar in hand, it's not terrible. You can set the Toy Soldier from your hand in your back row and then normal summon a Stellar, send the Toy Soldier. Toy Soldier will only be able to search Toy Box, but then Toy Box can set up Toy Tank. And then like you can send Toy Tank later in your combo potentially and still get some value off of this engine, even if it's not as good as starting off with Toy Box. So that's why I'm running 2 copies of Toy Soldier. And the Ryo is just crazy. It's Colossus and it's a special summon negate, and it basically costs nothing. You just kind of add it to your combo. It's really crazy. The fact that Toy Tank can summon this at the end of your combo is really, really nice. I really like it. Some people might think it's cringe, but with the state of the game right now, I don't care. I don't feel bad. I'm doing it. 3 copies of Sylvie. This card can search a spell, so this is another one of your starters. It's not as good of a starter, I would say, as Stellar, but this card is technically kind of maybe a 1-card combo. Not really. This is still a 2-card combo. But yeah, you can, with this card, you can search Tails, and then Tails could search any of your White Forest monsters while you control the Sylvie. So it's not the worst normal summon ever, but in a perfect world, you want to special it off of Stellar really, because it's just so much more value from there. And you do need the consistency in this deck. You can't really afford to not run 3 of this card. 1 copy of Rusia, as we said, 1 Magnamut and 1 Druis Worm. These are questionable, honestly. Like, they've helped me at times, but oftentimes they're just kind of there. So, you know, I'm kind of mixed on these. I might end up replacing them. So if you don't have Magnamut, or you don't really like this pick, I don't blame you. Just replace it, you know. 1 copy of Tales of the White Forest. You don't need more than 1. Like I explained, I think earlier, basically this is a conditional searcher. You know, it's like a fossil dig. Like, you need to control an illusion or spellcaster monster on the field. So I don't really want to draw this without, you know, being able to activate it. So I'd much rather just run 1 and search it when it's useful and not have it when it's not. I think 1 is perfectly fine since it's totally searchable within your combo. 3 Toy Box is one of the best cards in your deck, honestly. 2 Called By, 1 Crossout. We got to stop Max C. Triple Droplet. This one's like kind of questionable. Some would rather run more hand traps here. My issue with that is, like, if you draw just monsters, your deck is so bad. You really want a spell or trap to discard. So I think just upping the spell count a little bit with the droplet is kind of like worth it. And also setting this card turn 1 is super strong, and drawing into it off of Maxi. It's basically the best draw that you can get off of Maxi in this game, I think. So yeah, I like droplet. Not amazing in this deck because this deck is very like resource heavy at the start of the combo before you start generating a bunch of advantage. So it can be hard sometimes if you draw it without drawing Maxi. Like going second, it might be hard to figure out what you should send with droplet. But do keep in mind, you can proc your toy soldier and your toy tank off of sending them with droplet. So that's like, sometimes that comes up, and that's actually really strong. 3 copies of Imperm, because it's Imperm. 1 Woes, 1 copy of Reframing that you can search with Amritara. Anti-Spell Fragrance. This card is kind of niche. It's more so kind of like if you draw it, you can use it type of thing. The thing is, like, you can use it, like send it to the grave with one of these guys, and then your level 8 Diabel on summon can just add any spell or trap from grave to hand. So you could just add back your Anti-Spell Fragrance that you discarded to like get into your combo. And Anti-Spell Fragrance is so broken right now in the game. Like, it's so broken, especially against Tenpai. Against Tenpai, this card is so game winning much of the time. So yeah, I mean, it's not a must run, honestly, but it's really good. And then we have the 1 Azuroon for the brand new Silhouette Rabbit. In the extra deck, we have Dragoon, of course. We have our Albion to get into Dragoon. Formula Synchron didn't come up in this video, but basically, if you pass with Diabel on the field, Diabel can summon on opponent's turn. Well, basically any time that your opponent activates a card effect, you can quick effect summon a Synchro Tuner from your extra deck that's level 7 or lower. So on opponent's turn, you can summon Formula Synchron if they activate anything, and then Formula Synchron can go into Baron with Diabel. You know, Diabel plus this, make Baron. Coral Dragon comes up quite a bit. Sometimes you'll just pass on Coral Dragon because then on opponent's turn, you can summon like let's say a level 2 using the Woes and go straight into your level 8. You get a draw from the Coral, and then your level 8, when your opponent activates anything, summons the Formula Synchron, and you get into your Baron, right? Muddy Mud Dragon, you already know. It's for the Dragoon play. We have the Silvera to flip every opponent's monster face down. This card is really good. It's a tuner, by the way, so you can summon it using the Diabel. So, you know, that can come up. You can summon a Diabel, pass turn. If your opponent activates anything, you can summon the Silvera, flip all their monsters face down. Very important. Arciela, also a tuner. This is like a searcher that also procs the graveyard effect of Astellar by sending a spell to the grave. So very important part of your main combo line. We have Baron, Bestial Dispatcher. That comes up sometimes. It's not like I have not summoned it, honestly. Chaos Angel, I've summoned this once. Yeah, it's pretty good. I have the 1 copy of Artemis in here just to be able to do like a full power SP on turn 2 very easily. I've never summoned SP or Artemis yet with this deck, but you know, it's there. And we have Silhouette Rabbit, which is what I'm usually summoning instead of SP when I'm going first. So, you know, you summon Silhouette Rabbit, you set up the Azuroon, and, you know, you get a back row pop off of the Rabbit. The Rabbit can't be destroyed by battle, so that's pretty cool. You know, it sticks around. You can use it to make SP later if you want to. It's a really good card, especially just the Azuroon being, you know, a summon negate. And if they want to deal with the Azuroon without special summoning, you do get to destroy the monster that destroys it by battle. So even then, you know, it can be kind of annoying to deal with for your opponent. So overall, I would say Silhouette Rabbit is a really strong staple that you should consider. And honestly, this can be thrown in any deck because it's just 2 effect monsters. So it's definitely worth considering for a lot of decks. Now, I've yapped a lot, as I expected to. since I didn't sleep today, and I do that when I don't sleep. So I'm going to stop myself. I hope the video was useful as an introduction to Whitewoods. I'm really more trying to introduce people to these cards. So, you know, if you're someone that's watching this and you're already super familiar with this deck and you're like, yo, that wasn't exactly optimal, and actually you could have done this, it's like, I appreciate it. And you should comment that, by the way, because it helps the other people watching the video. But just keep in mind, you know, like I don't pretend to be some like tournament player that does everything perfectly. I just think that I'm decent at explaining my understanding of things, which is why I have this channel and why people stuck around. So yeah, anyway, I don't know, I'm still yapping. Peace.